Hey everybody, it's the Happy Critic. Well, it is finally spooky season, which means I'm going to be reviewing horror movies all month long. And these are mostly going to be lesser known horror films. Some of these movies are going to be some of my favorite horror films that I'm going to sprinkle through. These are movies that I've already watched that have been on my list of great horror movies that not a lot of people have seen that you honestly should check out. But also I'm going to just be talking about movies that I have been watching. I've been watching tons of horror movies lately on streaming services. I'm scouring through tons of them, just trying to find some little hidden gems out there. And I mean, that's pretty much my plan. I'm going to be scouring horror movies after horror movie, trying to find the hidden gems out there. Just so you know a little bit about me when it comes to my preferences with horror, my favorite subgenre of horror is creature features or monsters. I absolutely love monsters. And then my second would be like anything supernatural, paranormal. I love horror because it just makes any premise kind of interesting. It's kind of like my comfort genre, which I'm sure anybody that's watching this, it's probably how you are too. You probably know exactly what I'm talking about. You're like, yep, that I'm just sitting there watching horror movies like, this makes me feel so cozy. So I'm a little bit biased towards movies that are supernatural or are monsters or creature features and stuff like that. But I will try to be fair. I will be reviewing movies even if I didn't necessarily like them. If I think that they are a movie that is worth reviewing, that I think other people would enjoy, even if I maybe didn't enjoy it. I can usually tell the difference between a movie that I just personally didn't like because of personal preference versus a movie just sucking. And obviously I can't be like perfect on that, but in general, that's what I'm going to try to do. I want to try to be fair, and I want everybody to be able to find scary movies they can watch this year for Halloween. And, honestly, I'm having a fun time doing it. I love watching these movies. I love finding little hidden gems, which is pretty much my goal. And there really are some hidden gems out there, but you do have to go through a lot of crap to find them. I'm not going to be doing in-depth reviews of these films. I'm going to be trying to just do surface level reviews of them, let you know a little bit about what the movie's about, so that you can get an idea of whether or not it's a horror movie for you. I'm going to put this into a playlist and I have tons of horror movies on here. All right, but to start it off, I'm going to be reviewing 2 Irish folklore horror movies. One of them is one of my favorite lesser known horror films that I don't think a lot of people have watched, and one of them I didn't like as much. So the first movie I'm going to review is a movie called Unwelcome, which came out in 2023. So the movie follows a couple named Jamie and Maya. Jamie and Maya move to rural Ireland after Jamie inherits his recently deceased great-aunt's home. The couple are excited to be out of the city, but are a bit unsettled by the local stories of small creatures that allegedly live in the surrounding woods. So this film is a well-acted and well-directed movie. The sets are beautiful and it has a vibrant color design. I really enjoyed the practical effects in this film. And while I think that there is an audience for this film that will really love it, I personally didn't like this film that much. I didn't mind the beginning, but as it went on, I will admit that it did kind of start to lose my interest. Now, my dislike for this movie is more preference than any issues I have with the production value of this film. One reason I didn't really like this movie has to do with these 2 main characters, Jamie and Maya. And it's not like these 2 are written badly or that they're bad characters or they're acted poorly or anything like that. It's just that I personally don't really like them, especially Jamie. I want to do a whole video on this guy. I do not like this character. I'm not going to get into spoilers or anything like that. I also didn't really like Maya that much. She's better than Jamie, but there's also a few things. There's just something about him that seems kind of pretentious, and maybe that was on purpose. I'm not sure. But it's not even that. It's just, I didn't really like watching them as characters, especially, like I said, Jamie. I really didn't like him. But that is a personal preference. The 2 actually have good chemistry together, and they're both really well acted, and they did a good job. But my biggest problem with this film is it's just not really that scary. I wouldn't even categorize this movie as horror. It's kind of more like a thriller. This movie is kind of a home invasion thriller with a creature feature flair. That's how I would describe it. The horror in this film is more akin to the horror you saw in the movie Gremlins or Critters. The genre is horror comedy. I don't think this movie is as comedy as Gremlins or Critters. Those movies were a lot more kid-friendly, I guess you can say. This movie is not kid-friendly. It can be pretty gruesome and pretty violent. And I just didn't really prefer the feeling I got from this film. It seemed like a film with like a, I don't know, just kind of like a ugly soul, if that makes sense, I guess. But honestly, I think that there's people out there that will enjoy this movie, and you might even enjoy these characters. Like I said, I don't actually have a problem that much with Maya. There's a few times where she kind of annoys me. But other than that, it's mostly just Jamie. This character sucks. And the worst part is I don't think the writers are aware of the problems with the character. So if anything I said sounds good, if that sounds like a movie you would enjoy, then give it a watch. Like I said, it's a good movie. It's not like some low-budget film. It's well done, it's competent, it's well acted. I think that it's a decent, passable film that some people will really enjoy. So if this sounds like a good movie to you, by all means, give it a watch. However, if you're looking for an Irish folklore horror that actually has some scares in it, then I'm going to recommend my next movie. And that is a movie called The Hallow. So The Hallow is a 2015 Irish folklore horror film that came out in 2015. Now, this film is a proper creature feature, and unlike Unwelcome, can't be mistaken as belonging in any other category other than horror. This film is essentially a monster in the woods horror film, and the movie follows a family, Adam, his wife Claire, and their newborn son Finn, who have moved to a remote house in the rural Irish countryside. The family starts to notice strange occurrences and soon finds themselves in a fight for survival from something sinister lurking in the woods. So as you can see, yeah, that premise is very similar to Unwelcome. But this film, in execution, is actually quite different. While Unwelcome is a little more tongue-in-cheek and on the comedic side, this film takes itself a lot more seriously. This film has great production design. The atmosphere in the surrounding woods is very creepy and ethereal. The design of this creature, I think, looks great. And overall, the movie is able to create an unsettling experience. This movie, in my opinion, is perfectly paced. I love the buildup. I love the tension in those beginning scenes that are giving you hints at what is to come. And I think that this movie does an excellent job with its pacing and creep factor. I hate when they bypass that setup and they kind of just go right into the horror without effectively setting up the characters. Because I mean, you have to have characters that you care about, or else the suspense is going to be a lot less. Also, these two characters are well written and very well acted. And because of that, they are actually likable, which helps with later on when these two characters are put in danger. The suspense is just that much more intense due to the fact that you actually do give a crap about what happens to these characters. In my opinion, I find this film just 100 times better than Unwelcome. I think that it's a very well-paced, creepy, effectively scary creature feature horror Irish folklore movie. And if you haven't seen it, I highly recommend this movie. So if you're looking for an actual scary Irish folklore horror film and also really like creature features and monsters, I highly recommend The Hallow. Alright, I hope you guys enjoyed that. I just reviewed 2 folklore horror films, Unwelcome and The Hallow. Let me know what you thought about both of these movies. Which one do you like better? Like I said, I'm going to be reviewing horror movies all month. If you have any recommendations for films that you think are good that people don't talk about enough, some lesser known horror films, let me know. I will be putting out as many reviews for lesser known horror films as much as possible through the month of October. Just keep watching horror movies, you guys, and keep being scared. And I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.